Okay, so just to let everybody know, and you've probably seen in the WhatsApp group that there are a few people who've asked me to record the call. We're also recording it for my evaluation. So if you're not comfortable with your face on the screen on a recording or your voice on the recording, please mute yourselves and turn your video off. But otherwise, you are being recorded as of now. So how do I mute everybody here? Oh, that's okay. Okay, so what this is an overview of Who's the Umpire, obviously. Thank you for joining. I'm assuming that everybody can hear me okay because we've all been chatting away.
Yep.
Good, okay, good. So what we're going to cover today is, first of all, what is Who's the Umpire? Hopefully you know, but just to be sure. How to get appointed to games. How you accept or reject appointments. How you complete match reports. And then just a few general housekeeping items. So just to introduce myself, obviously, usually I've met most people, but obviously, especially with the lockdown, the current lockdown and the lockdown this season, most people I have dealt with over WhatsApp, I'm seeing for the first time on this call face-to-face, so putting faces to names at last. So those of you who don't know me, my name is Matt. I'm the appointment secretary for the LCU&SA. This is me here, second from the left, at the Alan Murray Cup final last year. Also on the call, we have two other members of the executive committee. So you've already been speaking to Will Houston, and we also have Peter Searson on the call as well. So you're blessed with executive presence today. So what is Who's the Umpire? So Who's the Umpire is an online appointments and reporting systems for sports umpires and referees. I believe it was invented for hockey, but it covers quite a few sports that involve umpires and referees, including horse racing, I see. And you see that on the drop-down menu. What it also does as well as allowing us to appoint you to games and for you to make yourself available and complete match reports. It also allows captains to complete reports, and I don't know if any of you are team captains or have completed captains reports in the past, but then these reports that are then used by us and by the grading committee for giving you as an umpire a grade, and for giving you feedback on of areas that are working well and areas that need improvements. So the license for Who's the Umpire that we have actually belongs to Cricket Ireland, and then they then lease it to the provincial union. So this is used across all of the island of Ireland for appointing cricket umpires. So I'm assuming again, that everybody on this call has access. I think from seeing the names of people coming through on Who's the Umpire, everybody does. If you don't have access yet and you need me to set it up, please hang on after the call. I have a very easy to follow PDF that can take you through that. But I believe everybody on the call has access already. So what I'm going to do now is switch over to a different tab. So hopefully now, I just want to check, can you see the login screen for Who's the Umpire now on the screen?
Yep.
Yep. So when you go to who'stheumpire.com, you will come to this screen. Now, if you click Remember Me, I believe it automatically logs you in, but it certainly remembers your login details. A lot of the time, especially if you're using a new browser as well, it will not have selected your sport for you. So if that's the case, if you haven't selected a sport, the Proceed button will be blanked out. So your username is also your email address. So you'll see here, obviously, as the appointment secretary, I use the appointments email, and your password, and then obviously cricket is the sport. And if you click Remember Me, it will remember those details. So if I want to do those again, I'll type my email in there, the password. If I click Remember Me now, it will give me a little warning, just to make sure that you're happy to store the details in there. Once you are in, if you click Proceed, now I'm going to click over this page because I only see this page as the appointment secretary. You'll go straight into this page. And what you'll get here is a list of appointments, whether you have accepted these appointments or not. This is what you will see. So this is the first good way of logging into Who's the Umpire. You will see a list of all the games that I've appointed you to. If you've rejected the appointment or I've taken you off there for any reason, it will not show on this list. The first thing I want to look at is how do you make yourself available for games? So I have quite an extensive list on here again because of the role. I think on a normal umpire's login, there are 5 or 6 from memory. You can correct me if I'm wrong, and there are more than that. But the relevant thing to click here is contact availability. And if you click on that, again, you should only be able to see yourself. Again, I can see everybody. So this should automatically default to you. The rest of it you can leave as is, because again, it'll default to Cricket Island provinces. I always suggest just leaving current month onwards. You can select an individual month if you want to go in there. But if you go current month onwards, which again is the default, and then click find, it will show you everything that's coming up for the rest of the year. So you'll see here, this is going all the way up, or it's going into 2021 now as well. And you will see a number of symbols on here. Most of them are self-explanatory, but I will explain them. So if you have an X on a particular date, that means that you're not available for that date. If you have a green tick in there, that means that you've already set yourself as available for the whole day. And then you'll see here, and I've just done a few of these for demonstration purposes. Obviously, because of the lockdown, current lockdown, I'm not available for this week or next week. But for demonstration purposes, I've done a bit of availability for this week. So if you're only available for an evening game, or for any strange reason you're only available in the morning, you can select that as well. What you'll also see is some of these days have a little star or asterisk next to them. That means that you are already appointed to a game on that date.
Sorry, can I ask a question now, or we'll have question at the end?
Let's do the questions at the end if that's okay.
Okay,
we'll do it. I mean, you can pop it in the chat box if you like, and then we can I can address them as they come up, and then I don't miss you then, because I'd say there'll be a few questions. So if you want to change your availability, there's a little amend icon here. If you click on amend, this will take you into the calendar for that month. So you'll see here again, my availability is the same as you saw there, but I can now edit it. So if I want to make myself unavailable, so now that I know I'm locked in Kildare for 2 weeks, I can deselect these and I'm no longer available on those days. If, say, on the 24th, for some reason now I wanted to make myself available all day, I could just use this drop-down menu here and change that to all day. If I wanted to make myself available on, say, the 30th, where I'm not currently available, again, I click the tick, it will automatically select all day for me. And again, I can select all day or evening, AM, PM, etc. One thing you'll notice here is what I can't do is edit a day where I'm already appointed to a game. So if I've appointed to you a game on those dates, there is a different way for you to take yourself off that game, but you won't be able to edit it through availability. And then when I'm happy with the changes I've made, I will click save, and you'll see though they are now reflected in the calendar. One thing I would ask, and my kind of biggest request as appointment secretary, is please try and keep this as live as possible. What I mean by that is my biggest frustration and my biggest cause of problems is appointing somebody to a game. Let's say I appoint somebody again this Saturday who is showing as available, and they suddenly the following day reject the appointment to say I'm now working, and probably knew they'd been working for the last 2 weeks, but just hadn't updated their availability. So please, we understand, and we do ask for availability quite a bit in advance usually. We do understand that things change, circumstances change. As soon as you know those circumstances have changed, please go in and change your availability. Don't wait for me to appoint you to the game before you realize, oh, I haven't changed it. And that's, as I say, that's my biggest request as appointment secretary. one thing I didn't, I will go back in here as well, is on this edit screen, you'll also see here, there's the opportunity for you to put notes in there. I still have a note in there from before when I was the appointment secretary when Peter Thew did it. So this is my instruction to him, and I know Will has something similar in his note to say I can do one midweek game and one game per weekend, and that way I can make myself available if I'm available either or, so Saturday or Sunday. I'll simply make myself available for both, and I'll know. So if Will did the same, I'll know Will only wants to do Saturday or Sunday. So again, if you put that note in there, I will be able to see it. So the next thing to do when I appoint you to a game, let me just get the screen up again. When I appoint you to a game, you will receive an email. Now, what I tend to do is a lot of editing in one go. So the chances are, if I'm doing September appointments, that I will do all of the September appointments and send them out in a block. You will see at the top of the email how many appointments you have on that email. And this is a mistake and an error that a lot of people do make, is they only look at the top one. So please do have a look. If it says you have 4 appointments, there will be 4 appointments on this email. So you'll see here there is notification 1 of 2, and then notification 2 of 2. Now these are dummy appointments that I've set up for this demonstration purposes. What I can do is, if I want to accept that appointment or decline that appointment, I can do it straight from the email without logging into Who's the Umpire if I want to. And all I need to do, it's very straightforward, is click accept. It will take me into this screen, and then there's a second step just to make sure that you do it properly. You can tick the following box here and click accept. And now that is telling me I've accepted that appointment. So when I go into Who's the Umpire, that will now show as accepted. Another email you will get at some point is there's an update to your appointment. This is when your colleague accepts the appointment as well. So I set this up as a dummy fixture, put Peter on there. Peter accepted the appointment, and I got an email to tell me this. If you haven't received one of those, it means that your colleague hasn't accepted it. If I make any changes, so if I delete somebody or change your colleague, it will also update you of that. So it's a very it's a very communicative system that will tell you, it will keep you informed as to what's going on. Another way of viewing your appointments, again, very straightforward, is to select appointments on the left-hand side. Wait for it to load. Of course, it's going to go slowly tonight because I'm demonstrating it. Any quick questions while we're waiting for that to load? I know somebody had a question there.
Yeah, so was not getting the option to select as evening, but I think that answered later on when we opened the entire month. So yeah, that.
Okay.
That
so you saw the drop-down menu.
Yep. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So if you want to view the appointments that you have, so if I want to see what appointments I've done since the start of this much shorter season, you can select a date range. Again, it will automatically default to you. I can select everybody, but it'll automatically go to you. And then if you click find, it will load the appointments up that I have within those dates. There. So you will see here that, and you'll see which ones I've accepted. And I actually do decline my own appointments sometimes just for my own records, just so I can keep a track of what's going on. So you'll see there that I accepted those. I had a change of circumstances there. My wife booked a dinner, so I had to come out of that one. I've accepted these games yet. There, I put a question mark in there because I believe I'm available, but I'm just waiting on see what happens with the lockdown. And then you can see there. So anything with a tick, I've accepted. Anything with a cross, I've declined. And if there's a question mark there, it means that you haven't actioned that. So if I wanted to go into this game and accept or decline it, sorry, I'll do that again. You just click on the date of that game. And again, it will give you the opportunity to accept or decline. It will ask you for a reason. So if I want to decline it, it will ask you for a reason to do it. So if you, and I think it requires more than 5 letters or something, so you just can't put A1 and decline. It has to be a reason in there. Okay, when you have completed a game, so Peter and I did pretended to do a game today at 10 a.m. It was a great game, Peter, wasn't it? In a competition that's not even running this year, but for the purpose of this call, once a game has gone past its start time and date, this little symbol here will appear. And this is where you complete your report of the game. I think a best practice is always to agree at the end of the game who is going to do the report. There are some umpires, and I've done it as well, where we do it there and then on a phone, because then you can agree on the answers between you. So you will go in here, and there are 2 separate reports on one here. One is on the ground, and one is on the match itself. And you'll see here there is a guide for you to use when you are grading the ground. So what type of pitch was used? Is it a turf pitch or a mat? What level of bounce there was? How consistent was the bounce? Was there any assistance for spin bowlers? And then the conditions of the outfield. So again, have a judge, particularly if you're with a more experienced umpire, it's probably a good idea to do it with them on the first few times, just to get a feel for what the correct answer or what the answer is to each of those. But what we're looking for here is, was the pitch true? Was the outfield in good condition? Was there any rain affected the pitch before the game? Was it affected during the game? Was it a scoreboard that was working? What was the boundary marking like? Was the pitch marked correctly? And seen in a number of instances where it wasn't, or where the stumps were correctly placed. There was one ground in particular that fell foul to that last year. Sight screens. Now the covers, obviously, if it's not affected by rain, you don't need them, so you can select not required. And then if they weren't required, you can actually skip over that answer. You don't need to answer that one. Separate facilities with the umpires isn't actually relevant to this year, so you can skip over that one. But in normal circumstances, you can answer, are they good, acceptable, poor? I think a good guide there is it a room that has a lock? Is it a room that has its own bathroom? Is good, or at least access to a bathroom. Whereas if it's a broom cupboard with no lock, it's probably poor. And then if there is no separate facilities, then there are none. Now, a working clock is visible from the pitch. Obviously, it needs to be telling somewhat the right time. And was there a roller available between innings? Again, if it's applicable, if it was asked for. And then if you have any specific comments, you can type them in there. So the match results, you'll see. Sorry, did somebody have a question there? No. Okay, match results, you'll see I've already filled in one of these, so it's trying to auto-complete, but is a good example of an answer.
Sorry, Matt, just before you move on to the next section, just in the point above, at the end of the ground report, that section should be used if any of the areas are not up to standard. That's your opportunity to expand on your points. If you, for example, if they didn't have sight screens, that's fairly self-explanatory. But for example, if you called out that the marking wasn't correct, expand on it, put a bit of a story together, because the OCC and the grounds committee they go back to these clubs. The more information that we can give them, the more that they can remedy it. If we just tell them that it wasn't right, that's not a lot of information. If we can give them the information, they can fix it.
Yep. Thank you, Will. Okay, match report. So as I said, put the results in there. If a side did not provide a scorer, so obviously they have to name a scorer these days, you can select there. If there's no requirements in that particular competition, you can put NA. Duck with Lewis, again, depends on the level of match. But it's self-explanatory. Two big ones here. So was the match played according to the spirit of cricket? If you select anything other than yes, then obviously you can say, well, it was the home team, the away team, or both teams. You need to put details in there, but particularly since Law 42 or the new Law 42 came into play, if there's a contravention there should be a report going in. So, and that will be looked at. If you select no here, and there is no report going into the OCC, the questions or the disciplinary committee, questions will be asked. The same if you select yes here, and then submit a report, questions will be asked. And as Will said, if you put a report in there, you can even copy the details of the report into here to tell that story. But you should be reporting filling in a disciplinary report anyway. Now there are awards that you can complete. You can nominate for the senior leagues and women's league. This is for fair play. Sean Pender Trophy is actually for player of the game rather than fair play. So again, it's a good one. This is a good one to agree with your colleague before you can submit the report. Of okay, do we want to put anybody forward for an award? And then the final one is, what kind of match are you claiming expenses for? Is it a full match? Is it 20 over? If it was a full match, a 50 over game that was abandoned before tea, then you will get a reduced fee for that. Once you've gone past tea, so once you've taken tea, you get a fee for a full game. If you're going to Cork, you get additional fee as well, because obviously the length of the journey. Once you have completed and you're happy with the report, if you click final version, you will get a warning giving you the opportunity to confirm that, and then you can click save. Once that is saved, obviously I'm not going to save that, once that is saved, that's your job done for that game, unless there is a disciplinary report to be followed up on. So hopefully
Can I ask a question?
Yep, absolutely.
Sorry, I made a cock up with the report on Saturday.
Yes.
And I put the wrong team one by DL, but I'd saved it already, so I couldn't alter it. Does that make a huge difference, or
I don't think so.
Report it to somebody?
I don't think so. I mean, the reports that the results that Cricket lets you use aren't being based on the umpires' reports at the end of the day. So unless somebody comes back and asks and wants to double check, I wouldn't worry too much about it.
All right. Well, I just let you know.
Yeah, that's fine. I know about it. So if anybody comes and questions me, I'll know about it.
That's grand. Thanks.
The other thing as well is, if you have done a game, obviously you will have a colleague there. You will be able to see here. So you go to past games and have a look. And this is a good way of checking if your colleague said they were going to do the report and didn't, or did. You can check here what report was put in there. The other thing as well is, which is useful.
Sorry, can I just ask on that? Because
yeah,
if you want to see your colleague's report, they've done the match report. I can't actually load it up. It comes up as sort of half a page, basically. But I can't see any more than the half page.
Okay.
Is there any way you can get over that, or?
Let me look into that one for you, Jeremy, because I'm not 100% sure. I'll need to raise that with who's the umpire, because I was under the impression that you could see. Let me have a look. No.
But it might be my computer. I don't know.
Let me look into that one for you, Jeremy.
All right,
Yeah,
cheers.
actually, I also have the similar question. So I can't see that at all.
I can't hear.
If the colleague is submitting the report. So he said that he will submit. He submitted. I can't see. It just shows me there's no ball actually there. So does it mean report is not filed, or does it mean that I can't see if the other person is submitting it?
Ashish, let me check on, stay on the line of this call and we'll have a look at it together.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, we'll have a look at that. We can see if that report has been done.
Because I think in my first match, which I did with Yash, we actually did the report on his phone afterwards, but I can't see, there's no record of it here. I'm looking at the screen. There's no ball symbol. The ball symbol's only there for the 2 reports that I've done. So the one that Yash did, and we did it together and he submitted it while I was there. So I'm sure there's definitely a report, but there's no ball symbol on that match for me when I'm looking here now.
Okay.
So I can't look at that report.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll look into that with who's the umpire then.
Well, the ball symbol only stays there if it's you that submitted the report.
Maybe that's it. Maybe if your colleague does it.
So to see your colleagues, you have to go into appointments, do you? And then click on that match.
Let me find out, because I'm not 100% sure. I don't want to steer you down. I might be steering you down the wrong path here.
Sorry, Matt. Go on.
No, it's fine. That's fine. So as we said, we were talking about before the call, we kicked off with the call here. If you wanted to find out, the best practice is to contact your colleague the day before a game. You should be able to see your colleague's contact details in here by just if you type in any part of their name, you'll see here, and click on here. There you see. So there I am. Let's see. I'll select me because I don't mind you knowing my mobile number. Hopefully you all have it anyway. And before you say anything, well, my DBS isn't out of date. It just won't let me update it. So you can go in there, search by contact, and then you can find your colleague's mobile number in there. So if you want to contact them the night before a game.
Just jumping in to Jeremy's point, I've just gone into my own access, and a game that I did on the 16th of July, I can see the ball. Now I did do that report. I'm just using this for an example purpose. And the next game that I did that I didn't do the report, the ball is still there.
Oh,
okay.
Has it got a plus mark beside it?
2 seconds.
What date is it, Will?
Just happened to go back into it now. Unfortunately, it's the usual story. When you press back, it goes resets the whole thing.
Yeah, if there's still a ball with a plus sign, obviously no report's been submitted.
No, I'm looking at the report. The report has been done.
All right.
Let me come back to that one. Let's finish on the presentation because I'll have a look at that one. No, you're fine. So just a few housekeeping things. As I said earlier, and I can't stress this one enough, please keep your availability live as much as possible, because as I say, that's the biggest issue we have, and it causes people get frustrated with fixtures chopping and changing and constant updates and changes to their games. This is the main cause of it, is people not keeping their availability up to date, getting appointed to games, and then usually there's a 24-hour lag between me appointing somebody and them declining it, which means then I have to make changes again. So please keep it as live as much as possible. Keep your contact details up to date so that your colleagues know how to contact you the day before a game. If you need to make a change the day before a game, again, life does get in the way. And particularly this weekend just gone, where all of a sudden 4 or 5 umpires were not allowed out of their county. Obviously they couldn't umpire. If you need to make changes the day before a game, please follow up with a call to me, because I'm not always, especially if it's on for a game on a Sunday, I may not be looking at my emails, or I may actually be in the middle of a cricket field somewhere. So at least if you've called me and left a voicemail, I know there's an issue. If it's an email and even a WhatsApp, I may not check it. So please call me. If you need to make a change on the day of the game, again, call me, but also call your colleague, because I could always be umpiring. I may be away. I might not get your call, but your colleague does need to know. And if I have 4 or 5 people making changes, I've got a lot of work to do on the morning of a game. I might not have time to get to your colleague. So please have the courtesy to contact your colleague. And that's it. That's it. Thank you very much. So again, if you don't have my contact details, please stay on the call. I'll get them. I think everybody does. There's a WhatsApp group there as well. But please try and do everything through the email address and who's the umpire, other than those last minute changes. Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Matt, just one thing.
then-
Don't forget to send the COVID form to you. For the COVID
Yes,
thing.
thank you, Peter. So if you are umpiring, please on the morning of the game, not the day before, but the morning of the game. There's no point telling me the day before because you could develop symptoms overnight. Send me a mail to say that you have no symptoms and that you are fit to umpire, please. Any other questions before we look at this report? Because I might have given you a bump steer on this one, but I can have a look now.
Is there a way to see the address of the game in Who's the Umpire, or is it only in the email as of now?
Let me have a look. That's a very good question, and I don't know the answer. So if I go on to, oh, there you go. If you click on the home team, so I'm just looking at this. Jeremy went to YMCA Women on the 30th of July. There you go. There's the address.
Okay.
I believe somewhere there
Just on the subject of addresses and grounds, if you go into Google Maps, 99% of grounds are on Google Maps, and they will bring you to the door.
Yes.
Okay.
The one for the new leash ground is unbelievable.
It literally gets you to the door.
Yeah,
I will,
gets you
I
in
will
the field.
send a link to the new colleagues in the new group in a few minutes with all the grounds all over Ireland. So it does have to be updated, but I have it mostly updated.
Brilliant.
Okay, Will, did you have the date of that game you were looking at?
23rd of July, I've sent it to you in the chat.
23rd of July. So that was you and Manik. So you did the report, but you can see that, did you say?
I can see it. And the next one, or sorry, the previous one, Adam Kelly, that I did on the 16th.
16th. Maybe you can't see them once somebody else has done them.
Yeah, I can see. I did.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he's done it.
Yeah, the 2nd of this month. It was.
You see there that Adam completed that, but I can still see that ball.
You can still see the ball, but you can't see the report.
No, I can see the report. I can see those reports. Doesn't matter the distance back. Cheers.
Yeah, but Jeremy was saying he can't.
But
maybe
but he
it's-
was saying that there might be a time period, and I'm saying that's over a month, and I
Yeah.
can still see them, no problem.
Maybe I was looking at them under appointments rather than on the fixtures.
Possible.
Possibly.
Would you mind, Matt, me sharing the screen? I can show how I see. I don't see the reports at all.
Yeah, go for it. Do I need to give you permission or?
I think Jeremy has the answer there. I'm looking under appointments and I can't see the ball of my colleague who made the report, but if I look under fixtures, I can.
Aha. See, I've
Yeah,
learned
that's
something this evening.
Yeah.